And welcome back to the CLV Challenger League Virtual Week 3. We are in Baku, Azerbaijan for the Baku C-Prix. Look at our teams: ProLime, Applamazing, Priya, all with big investments. Vlad Richard again for Pappy Pop Racing, the WCC leaders. Floyd McLovin Jr. gonna make a push for his first big finish, as well as Corvid for Hurricane Racing, down in dead last in the constructors. 36 laps here in Baku, rolling into the qualifying session. Going to be 10% chance of rain today for qualifying and the race, of course. And we're underway. Still getting a touch of the COVID, excuse my state, as we get her underway. The qualifying session around this first corner. It's a big front stretch, huge demand on the speed, and another about 1/3 of the length of the straight after the first two turns is just dead open. Hard braking zones up through this narrow castle area. Here we see Danimator from Talento Roja. Teammate 2 Kamikaze looking to make a bit of a push and grab some more points with a great showing at Monaco last week. Was into the top 5 or 6, I think it was, grabbing some points, but looking to better the efforts this week. Vlad Richard, a little bit down, probably further than he'd like to be. I don't know exactly how far down that lap time is going to register. Looking in the low 29s as we're filtering through the back of the grid. Pappy in dead last, not putting any tokens into his current points lead to defend it. 27.87. Wow. Unreal time by ProLime right now. The low 28s looking good as well, but the two Rich Energies are looking really good. Maybe a front row start if Applamazing can do anything about it. For Polish Orlin, love to snag a top spot. Well, that'll be good enough for second place. Toad Racing Team, Racing System, looking for a little bit of a push here. They're going to finish 4 and 5. ProLime snags pole, the 27.57, then Applamazing 0.13 slower. Priya, Toad and Phoenix, like we said, Vlad Richard in 6th, disappointing quali for him. Floyd McLovin Jr. in 7th, Corvid 8th, Danimator in 9th, and Suacid in 10th. Spending the tokens there, Suacid spending a single token for the 10th spot. Julo also, Julo actually spending 2 tokens, only down in 11th. Miku in 12th area, Carmina in 13th, not that guy. Rosine, Nomskar in 16th, and Musa, the other Rick Ware, in 17th. Kamikaze in 18th. 19th spot and 20th spot go to YDG and Senior Pappy. Here we are underway for the Baku C-Prix, and we are go, lights out. And it's ProLime holding Appley to the outside, but squished into the wall, and Appley gets a great start off the stop. And ProLime just squeaks by Priya to hold on to second place. Toad, Speed, and Golden Phoenix sitting in 4th and 5th. Vlad Richard looking to squeak by, and we got rain on the way already on the opening lap. Hard rain coming. That'll mean everybody's in for wets. Priya ahead of ProLime, the teammate right now, and they're going to be going into the pits in 2-3. Golden Phoenix and Toad Speed, good starts. Vlad Richard up into 5th. Danimator sneaking into 7th place through the pits, but he gets a little bump from Phoenix. That will not hurt, but he squeezes ahead of the other Toad. The TRS and McLovin is ahead of Toad too, and Toad Speed is all the way down to 8th spot. Priya into 1st. Applamazing and ProLime. Golden Phoenix, then Vlad Richard, Danimator, and Toad. The rain is not going to last long, but everybody's on the wets anyway. We'll get a couple more laps on the wets as the track dries, and it's a chaotic start here in Baku as Vlad Richard gives the the paint job to Toad Speed right on the edge of him, trying to come up and take a slipstream here, but Toad is way off to the races, and Vlad Richard is by the TRSs, and Corvid is trying to get back into this mix. in 8th spot right now for Hurricane Racing. Hurricane Racing team in last spot currently in the standings, as Apple Amazing looks really close at Priya. Oh, inside into the backs, the final straight, sorry, and Proline takes a squeaky inside route and takes a pass on both of them and is into first place now. Proline putting in the full 4 tokens for this race, Priya putting in 3, so a big stack up for Rich Energy Virtual. Apple Amazing also putting a solid 4 points into this race, as well as Vlad Richard and Floyd McLovin and Toad. So big investments here. Someone's going to be disappointed. Right now it's Toad Speed down in 9th place with a low payout for his investment. But teammate Golden Phoenix supporting the push in 7th spot right now, up into 6th as the dry tires go back on. And it's Apple Amazing leading. Danimator in a train with Floyd McLovin, otherwise known as our Butterlord, owner of VLO in the SLV. Vlad Richard still on the wets. The top 4 stayed out for that extra little bit on the wets here, and we're going to reorder as Apple Amazing leading with the Rich Energies following 2nd and 3rd. Golden Phoenix really done well to work his way up into 4th, 5th spot now, and Floyd McLovin for the Tour also sitting in a great spot in 5th place. The Toads battling each other, not something you really want to see on the track. Hopefully they can slipstream off each other rather than be a detriment to each other's racing lines and whatnot here. Vlad Richard, for the first time this season, finding himself the lone orange car near the top of the grid as Pappy sits in last place right now. More than a second off the pace of Nomskar in 19th for Matessa. Alright, Proline starts the chase down of Apple Amazing on a quicker tire, as Apple Amazing is on the hards, Proline and Priya both on the softs. And the Toads seem to be slipstreaming each other well, as Julo you see in the 10th spot and the final point spot right now. Probably disappointed, hoping to be up higher right now, but that's the way the cookie crumbles thus far. Suacid and Arya Carmona investing a token apiece just outside of the top 10 so far, wasting those tokens, not getting any driver's points out of 11th or 12th. Only the top 10, of course, getting points. Proline takes a nice slipstream pass on Priya as they try and share the burden of catching back up to Apple Amazing, who's already 1.6 seconds ahead now. Maybe another little back and forth can be found here on Toad. Team Toad, but Toad Speed a little bit faster than Golden Phoenix with the extra point invested. Danimator now behind Julo, as Julo is on a faster compound, making his way up through the ranks into 9th spot, nearly 2 seconds back of Phoenix, who has a larger gap between himself and his teammate Toad. Now Floyd McLovin is starting to inch closer as he uses that hard tire to chip away at the initial burst of speed experienced from the REVs. And it looks like Proline is going to get into slipstream range on Pappy, not in a great spot to get a really good slip off of it, but nonetheless putting some space in between himself and eventually Floyd McLovin. Priya should be following fairly closely as Apple Amazing gets neatly by his teammate, using him as a bit of a barrier and not being held up too much. That's fantastic. Floyd McLovin now right close to Priya, almost in slipstream range. I think we will see some slipstream on this turn. Oh, they're coming in because the rain is coming back. And here we are. On to the wets they go. Apple Amazing did get in that pit. I thought he might have missed it, but he made the pit. Everybody else in for the wets, the full-on wets. Nobody going to those inters as it is full rain. And here we go. Floyd McLovin has done an excellent job to stay close and work his way right up into the edge of the top 3. The grip, though, lacking a small amount on that Tour. The Tour Racing team has 2 turbo upgrades to their name, failing the turbo the first week. And in comparison to the Rich Energy has one acceleration and one turbo. So the grip, neither here nor there on either of those cars, as we find a nice battle between Toad and Vlad Richard. 96 here from Pappy Pops. Oh, he takes it a little wide into the wall. Toad's easily around, nicking the wall before the castle section and around cleanly on the exit. Taking it really slippery, really slidey. Not a lot of grip from any of these cars. Toad Racing does have a grip upgrade though, so that will come into play in these wet portions of the race. So I think TRS would hope for some more rain and being able to put their grip to work. Floyd McLovin Jr. trying to get around Musa unsuccessfully on that slippery, slidey castle section exit. Golden Phoenix just 0.3 ahead of Julo now. Julo making some gains. The Matessa also has a grip and an acceleration upgrade to their name. So Julo keeping pace nicely with Golden Phoenix and looking to go for a slipstream and pass here right on the inside. A little tiny mini switchback and it works down the front straight. Julo up into 8th place, slowly chipping away for Matessa. Vlad Richard back down to 7th spot. Not an ideal spot for the World Constructors leading team to be sitting at right now. Corvid working his way through the pack as well. Hurricane Racing team not doing too great to start the year, not investing an enormous amount of coins, but really they'd rather see themselves much higher for what they've got. A few dead investments in the first couple races from HRT. Corvid and Not That Guy, of course, his teammate. A couple times they invested 1 or 2 tokens, coming up short. Absolutely pointless in these races. Not what you want to see early on in a very short 8-race season. Apple Amazing, your current leader, up over 2 seconds now. Nothing is getting in the way of the POL up front with a 4-point statement going for 2 races in a row. That would be a feat, of course, edging out Senior Pappy last race in Monaco. Now REV seems to be the big competition. The track is drying. Julo, Danimator, and Aria near a lap down in for the softs. And now our leaders come into the pits. Corvid just by his teammate, Not That Guy, as they both come in together. It's a double stack for HRT. HRT going to give a little bump to Corvid. Miku does the same, and actually that's going to benefit him. Just behind Floyd McLovin Jr. right now for 5th spot on the grid. HRT looking to be in fantastic form right now. Alright, Danimator, more of a silent race. 5 seconds back of Julo sitting in 9th, and the final spot for points being held on to by Golden Phoenix right now, as it is a very tight race now between ProLime and Apple Amazing for position. It looks like ProLime is not going to be able to hold on. Apple Amazing stretches out that lead. Corvid now into 4th. A handily grabbed spot over Floyd McLovin Jr. ProLime still keeping close. Apple Amazing going to run into some traffic now. Will we see some differentiation now between the leaders as the lap traffic becomes a factor? Pappy holding up ProLime. Oh, around the outside, just gets by, but not before losing about a half a second, and now it's over a second gap. Priya 7-8 seconds back of ProLime. Really seeing some differentiation here on the track between our leaders now. Apple Amazing pushing to a 1.5 seconds ahead. Danimator now the only car lapped in between himself and ProLime. As we look back to the grid, Golden Phoenix pushing hard to keep on to 10th spot as they go in through the lap traffic now. Himself being lapped now behind Aria Carmona, who's moved up into that last top 10 spot. ProLime working hard to stay within sights of Apple Amazing. It is not working very well though. Corvid pushing faster yet, getting by Rosine. Floyd McLovin trying to get by without having to do much battling on this lap traffic, but it's a tough battle from Rosine. Takes it into the wall and succumbs to the force of the TOR. It's tough, it's tight, and it is dangerous here in Baku. Floyd McLovin Jr. doing an excellent job just to stay in slipstream range on those slower tires, getting the most out of his tire strategy, staying in range, and staying fast right behind Corvid, the HRT. Kamikaze giving a little bit of bump and a kiss to the wall as Applemazing slides by. ProLime is edging closer to Apple though, as we are on our 23rd lap of 36 here in Azerbaijan. Floyd McLovin now ahead of Corvid. Toad Speed looking to get up into that battle for the top 5. Sneaking around Rosine, not able to do it on the first 2 turns. Turns 3 and 4 still behind. Turns 4 and 5 still behind into the castle section. There's not a lot of passing going on there. Toadspeed gets a little hung up, takes a skid after some contact with the rear wing of Rosine, and Rosine is just weaving just enough to prevent him from getting by, and he finally will, but not before leaking a lot of time, as you see Corvid in the pits dropping down to 6th position, but with fresh mediums on. Vlad Richard looking to get something a little bit more respectable than 7th place, but a nice pass for a lap there was Floyd McLovin on Pappy, who's still running in 10th spot, 4 seconds behind Nomskar. Without any investments, you see the Pappy Pops not as an impressive machine as we initially might have been led to believe with their huge dump of tokens at the start of the season. They wanted to start with that lead. They're definitely not going to be in relegation position, but I don't know if they wasted too much of their tokens together in the same races or not. That story will be told near the end of the season as Toad and Arya slide by Poppy as well. Or sorry, Phoenix. Golden Phoenix holding on to that last point spot, as we mentioned. We'll find out if Pappy Pops did too much of a dump and if they stagnate or not. I know pretty much for a fact that after winning and taking those podiums early on, they'll pretty much be safe from any relegation, but how much will they stagnate with Pappy just having 2 points left to spend and Vlad Richard just 1 point left to spend for the rest of the whole season? Very, very front-heavy investment. We'll see how these different strategies pay off. A nice balanced strategy is ProLime and Priya for the REVs. However, they do tend to spend their tokens on the same races. Again, from this commenter's perspective, not the most idyllic way to spend your tokens, of course, battling with your own teammate when you spend the same amount of tokens. However, Corvid picks a beautiful slipping pass past Toad Speed in the lap traffic to reclaim 5th spot. And he's going to get by Golden Phoenix as well, who's a lap down. Excellent. Now, Floyd McLovin Jr. is going to have 2 laps better tires than Corvid, and he's going to have about 3 or 4 seconds to make up. Just coming out behind Toad Speed. And he's working his way back up, already past Toad Speed, and the climb for 5th begins again. Alright, Corvid in 4th spot, looking fantastic, just behind the REVs, and of course Applemazing, who is in current 2nd place. Getting held up behind Julo, sandwiched in between himself and Vlad Richard. Vlad Richard actually pushes past him, but Applemazing makes the pass back and restores himself into 2nd. 3 seconds behind ProLine. Priya with better tires. Floyd McLovin with absolutely fresh tires chasing down Corvid, but it's hard in that castle section and that lap traffic. Corvid just 2 seconds behind Priya. Looking at a podium. A podium for HRT would be fantastic at this point in time. Julo and Vlad Richard in a dead heat battle for 7th spot. Julo by Vlad Richard momentarily. Floyd McLovin really, really close within the slipstream range. Just out of the slipstream range to Corvid. fighting in the top 4 right now as Priya has fresh tires on. She should be coming up behind shortly to regain that podium spot, but we'll have to see if anyone can survive an extra couple laps on a stint and maybe stretch it out and steal someone's spot by way of taking less pits. Priya working her way back up by the POL of 6YDG. And we're en route nicely for a good battle. Floyd McLovin returns the pass to Corvid. Corvid really looking worn out on those mediums. Apple Amazing has a nice lead on Prolime. Going to be able to hold that through to the end of the race, most likely. Corvid now up against the wall. Priya slides by. Corvid's tires falling off rapidly, trying just to stay in slipstream a little bit. Floyd McLovin with a greater lead up in 3rd place. Going to slide by Not That Guy, who's a lapped car, of course. Prolime 4 seconds back of Apple Amazing. Still has decent grip on the softs as Apple Amazing is on those worn out mediums. Now, Prolime will be gaining, but that traffic may have been a little bit too much for him to handle. We'll have to see how things unfold here with just 2 laps to go. Prolime 4.33 back. They're going to have to make up over 2 seconds per lap to put the pass on, as Priya just 2 seconds back of Floyd McLovin. He'll have to do a little bit of work to stay ahead of her as she's charging hard. Corvid really falling off. Toad Speed going to be looking to catch up a little bit. Vlad Richard getting lapped by Prolime down in 7th spot. Very, very underwhelming performance from the PPR. 7th spot, nothing to shake a stick at, but definitely not getting the 3-point investment that he was looking for. Oh, 2-point investment only. Well, rather, that makes a little bit more sense. Apple Amazing on the last lap, 2.3 seconds ahead. Prolime is charging, but I think it's going to be too much. Apple Amazing rounding the last corners and on the final stretch. And it's going to be Apple Amazing 2 in a row here in Baku. Prolime coming by in 2nd. And the tour of Floyd McLovin staying the first podium for the Purple Thunderstorm livery. Miku, the team owner, will be thrilled with that finish. Priya comes by in 4th and a first points finish for Corvid in your top 10, in your top 5, sorry, for HRT. A fantastic race of strategy, tight races and battles everywhere. The Baku C-Prix is over. Apple Amazing, your back-to-back race winner 2 weeks in a row. Prolime, Floyd McLovin, Priya, and Corvid, your top 5. Toad Speed getting 6th spot for TRS, and Golden Phoenix snagging a point down in 10th, as well as teammate Vlad Richard in 7th. 8th goes to Julo. Danimator for Talento Rojo in 9th. Arya Carmona and Suicide for SCR finishing just outside the points back-to-back. Rosine also no points in 13th. Miku, Not That Guy, 6 YDG. Kamikaze 17th. Namskar, Musa, and Pappy rounding it out. No harm, no foul for those 0-point spending investors. The only disappointment coming to the SCRs. And that'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week as we travel to Mugello.